Welcome to Real Bass Lessons. Today we're going to get back to some fundamental. We're going to work on some triads, okay? Watch this. Simple enough, right? You bet. Good. Now I want you to copy my exact fingering and the process that I'm going to go through here. Get your bass out and play with me. By the way, the biggest challenge with a lesson like this is people go, Jim, I already know my triads. Well, that's fine. Don't you think we ever should work on to get better on some of those things you might already know? And if you don't know them, well, great. This is called learning. By the way, this is a real bass lesson. Get your bass out and play with me. Okay? Here we go. Let's try it together real slow. 3 and 4 and... Good, you got it? Sure, I just took the space out of it that time. Now listen to this. By the way, you can see I'm following the cyclofourth. And if you don't know the cyclofourth, well, shame on you. If you're looking at my lessons at all regularly, I use it all the time. Go back and get it down. You'll like practicing to it, I promise. Now I'm going to leave the space out in between each key. Watch this. Yeah, now it becomes a shifting exercise also, doesn't it? Let's do it all the way around the cyclofourth now, okay? A little bit slower. 3 and 4 and... Made it back to C. Cool. Now 2 or 3 things in there. Be careful that when you get to that highest note, make it sustain. Now you have to jump quickly to this note, so it's going to be short, but don't cut it off. Watch once. Got the idea? Not. No, sustain it all the way through. Good, let's do that again, a little bit faster, and let's get going with the metronome. This tempo. Boom, boom, bing, boom, boom, boom. 3, 4. Now, what's the purpose of practice? Or what is practice? Definition? Well, it's the repetition of a predetermined physical activity. Well, that's what we're doing here, okay? Sometimes people think in these lessons that it's all about just gathering information. You know, you sit there and I talk and you get information, you go, boy, I'm a better player. Well, you might gain some information, but that doesn't make you a better player. It's the repetition, the practice that does it. So get your bass out and practice along with me. We're going to do this in a minute now as though I would practice it with the student. That means 1 time through. That means maybe 5 times through, nonstop. So we develop some discipline of focus. We develop a hand strength and posture. We develop the discipline of learning the shifts. Sure, you have to be involved in practice, consistent practice, or it's just not going to happen. I know watching the video here, sometimes people just, surf around the web and go, oh boy, I saw all this cool stuff. Well, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. I do that too. But if you're going to get better, you got to practice. And what that means is don't play one and then when I'm on the 10th one, cop out and go, well, I'll wait till it gets done and I'll move on, look for something cooler. No, play every single note with me, okay? That's what practicing is. So let's do it 1 time through and don't stop. Now, if you say, well, Jim, but I don't know it. Well, then you need to stop the whole thing and work it out. Okay? You need to work it out and then practice with me. But truthfully, I think if you'll just play with me, you'll work it out on the fly. Here we go. Once around. Ready, play. Let's do it twice now, nonstop. And again, here's where people kind of just go, well, I know it, so I'll just let it go. No, it's not knowing it. It's let's experience. By the way, it would be the same thing as you say, I think I'm going to run a marathon or a half marathon. So you go out there and you run for about 200 yards and you go, well, I know how to run. I don't need to do anymore. No, it's the participation, the strength building, the endurance building, the mental toughness building. That's why we need to practice like this, okay? So let's do it twice around the cycle, nonstop. 1, 2, ready. how'd you do? Good. Let's kick the tempo up and do it some more. By the way, I know people are always going, Jim, I want to do the cooler stuff, the hipper stuff, the fancier stuff, the more difficult stuff. Well, it all starts with fundamentals. Matter of fact, let me tell you a little bitty story. I think it was very entertaining to me, and it really made the point. I got to see a seminar by a speaker, a man named Tim Foley, one time, many years ago. And Tim was a all-pro wide receiver in the NFL, and he played with the Miami Dolphins. Back in the heyday and that season when the Miami Dolphins won every game the entire year. Well, Tim talked about the importance of practice and how he didn't understand it. And he sort of made a joke, told a little funny story, a parody about this is not how it works. He said, so I get drafted by the Miami Dolphins, incredible team, and here's Don Shula, one of the greatest coaches in the world. And we get out there in the first inning, Don Shula says, all right, I want you to line up and do sprints. And Tim says, oh, Mr. Shula, I don't really do sprints. I'm here to play football. Yeah, right. So they play a little bit, and then they start to do some exercise, some sit-ups. And Shula says, I want everybody to do 100 sit-ups. And Foley's like, Mr. Shula, I don't want to do sit-ups. I just want to play the game. Well, the point is you don't just play football to get better at football. You do all sorts of training of the body and the mind. And it's the same thing as the bass. People do want to go, Jim, I want to play a hip line. Well, cool, but don't you think we ought to learn how to play the bass real well? It's all about economy of motion. So that's enough. Let's just do it. Here we go. Just a little increase in tempo. Once through. Ready? Play. Kick the tempo up a little more. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. A little faster. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Let's go around again. I screwed it up. Start on B. Just that little bit of extra pressure of doing it a second time and now doing it faster. I screwed it up. Let's do it again. 2 times. Focus. Stay with me. 1, 2, ready, play. Sorry for screwing it up there. I think I am so geared toward, okay, I make the home base that I just can't seem to go on. Let's do it again. Let's kick the tempo up just a touch more. By the way, if you're still with me, you're practicing and playing every single bit of the stuff I'm doing here, that's great. If you're not, why not? You're not gaining anything by watching. Again, it's like that marathon. I want to learn to run, so I watch people run. No, I got to get in there and do it. And people don't run the marathon to learn how to run. They do it to develop a discipline in their lives, a discipline in their training, of course to strengthen their body and mind. But you bet. So I kick the tempo up. We're now here. Let's try 2 times through. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, how'd you do? I kind of gained a second wind. When we getting close to coming around for the second time, I started thinking, relax, relax, take a deep breath, and all of a sudden, yeah, baby, I got into it. This is good practice. This is working on your triads, the arpeggios. Get into it. Rewind this little bugger and do it over and over with me in time. Use this as a play along. And get your chops happening and get some discipline and focus in your practicing. Repetition, that's the key. Fired up.